The projector screen flickers as I wrap up my presentation, my voice steady despite the constant vibration of my phone in my pocket. 20 pairs of eyes focus on me, hanging on every word about our new marketing strategy. This is my moment. The pitch that could finally land me that promotion to vice president. My phone buzzes again. And again. And again. I maintain my smile, gesturing toward the final slide. So, as you can see, gentlemen, by implementing these changes, we're looking at a potential 30% increase in market share within... The phone nearly jumps out of my pocket. I resist the urge to check it, but my heart rate spikes. Nobody calls this persistently unless something's terribly wrong. Excuse me, I say, my voice wavering slightly. I need to take a quick break. Family emergency. I sprint to the hallway, fumbling with my phone. 15 missed calls from Vivian. 23 text messages, each more hysterical than the last. Emergency, come home now. Michael needs you. Why aren't you answering? This is urgent. My stomach churns. I'm dialing before I can think twice. Vivian, what's wrong? Is Michael okay? Esther, finally. Where have you been? I've been trying to reach you for hours. I'm in the middle of a crucial presentation. What's the emergency? We're having a family dinner tonight. Michael's been so distant lately, and I thought we could all get together. The words hit me like a slap. A dinner? That's your emergency? Don't take that tone with me, young lady. Family should always come first. Michael agrees with me on this. Of course he does. He always does. I'm in New York, Vivian. I can't just drop everything for a spontaneous dinner. Well, that's exactly the problem, isn't it? Always putting your career before family. No wonder Michael's been talking about separation. My blood runs cold. What did you just say? Oh, did he not mention it? Perhaps if you were home more often? The conference room door opens. My boss peers out, eyebrows raised questioningly. I have to go, I say, my voice hollow. Esther, don't you dare hang up on... I end the call, staring at my phone as another message pops up. This is why he's pulling away from you. My hands shake as I smooth down my skirt. 5 years of marriage, and this is how I find out? Through his mother's manipulative games? I straighten my spine and walk back into the conference room, plastering on a professional smile. But inside, something has shifted. Something has broken. And I'm beginning to realize it was broken long before today. The house feels different when I finally get home. Colder. The silence has weight to it, like the air before a storm. Michael's keys aren't in their usual spot by the door, but his car sits in the driveway, a ghost of normalcy. Michael? My voice echoes through our too-quiet home. I find him in his study, staring at his laptop. He doesn't look up when I enter, just keeps scrolling through whatever's on his screen. The blue light makes his face look hollow, aged. Your mother called me today. I lean against the doorframe, watching him. Apparently, we're having a family dinner. He flinches, just slightly. Anyone else might have missed it. Mom gets these ideas sometimes. She also mentioned something about separation. His fingers freeze over the keyboard. For a moment, neither of us breathes. She shouldn't have said anything. He finally looks at me, but his eyes don't quite meet mine. It was just something that came up in conversation. Came up in conversation? The laugh that escapes me sounds foreign, bitter. When exactly did you plan on having that conversation with me? It's not like that, Esther. You're always working, always somewhere else. We barely talk anymore. So this is my fault? That's not what I... His phone buzzes. Vivian's face lights up the screen. He reaches for it. Don't you dare answer that. He answers anyway. Hi, Mom. Yes, she's here. I know. We'll be there in 30 minutes. The familiar way he caves to her makes my stomach turn. I'm not going. Esther, please. She's already invited everyone. Dad's cooking his special roast. The same roast he made when you told them about your promotion last month? The words slip out before I can stop them. His face goes pale. What are you talking about? Your secretary called the house last week, Michael. Looking for you. Funny thing, she seemed surprised when I mentioned your new position. Almost as surprised as I was when she told me you hadn't been to the office in 3 months. He stands so quickly, his chair rolls back and hits the wall. You had no right to. No right? I'm your wife. My voice cracks on the last word. At least I thought I was. Now I'm not sure what I am besides another audience member in the performance of your life. His phone buzzes again, and again, and again. Go ahead, I say, stepping back. Answer it. Tell your mother you'll be there soon. Tell her everything's fine. That's what you do best, isn't it? Pretend? I turn and walk away before he can respond, before he can see the tears I refuse to let fall. Behind me, I hear him answer his phone, his voice soft and placating. Hi, Mom. Yes, we're on our way. We both know it's a lie. But then again, what isn't these days? The bank statement sits on my desk like a loaded gun. I've read it 20 times, but the numbers refuse to make sense. Our joint account, nearly empty. Our savings, drained. 3 months of mortgage payments, missing. My fingers trace the transactions, all of them leading to one place. Vivian's Country Club, monthly membership fees, charity galas, silent auctions, private dinners. The door downstairs clicks open. Michael's footsteps, heavy and uncertain, echoed through the house. I don't turn when he appears in the doorway. Where were you last night? My voice sounds distant even to me. At the office, working late. The office you haven't been to in 3 months? I slide the bank statement across the desk. Or the country club where you've been spending our savings. He moves to grab the paper, but I snatch it back. Mom needed, don't. The word cuts through the air like a blade. Don't you dare make this about her. You don't understand. She would have lost everything. Her standing in the community, her friends. And what about us? What about our future? He runs his hands through his hair, pacing. I'll fix it. I promise. I just need time to... To what? Lie some more? I pull out my phone, scroll to a recent email. Your firm's managing partner called today. They're considering legal action over client files you never completed. Files you were paid for. The color drains from his face. How did you... I called them. Because that's what partners do, Michael. They face reality together. I stand, my legs steadier than I feel. But we're not partners, are we? We're just actors in your mother's play. That's not fair. Fair? I laugh, and it sounds like breaking glass. Fair would have been telling me when you lost your job. Fair would have been admitting you gave our savings to your mother. Fair would have been... My voice catches. Fair would have been loving me more than you fear her. His phone buzzes. We both know who it is. Go ahead, I say. Answer it. Tell her everything's fine. Tell her I'm being difficult again. Tell her whatever story helps you sleep at night. Esther, please. I'm done, Michael. I grab my keys and coat. I'm done pretending. I'm done watching you destroy everything we built because you can't say no to her. I'm done being the villain in your mother's story. Where are you going? I pause at the door, not looking back. To see a lawyer, a real one. And then I'm going to have a very interesting conversation with your mother about fraud. His phone buzzes again, more urgent this time. As I walk away, I hear him answer it, his voice shaking. Mom, we have a problem. Yes, I think, stepping into the cold evening air. We certainly do. Lena's office feels too small today. The walls closing in as I pace between her leather armchair and the window. Outside, rain streaks down the glass, distorting the city lights. You should see their faces at the country club, I say, running my fingers along the windowsill. All those perfect smiles, nodding along while Vivian brags about Michael's imaginary promotion. Their perfect son, their perfect life. And what about your life, Esther? Lena's voice is gentle, but I hear the edge beneath it. When was the last time you thought about what you want? I turn to face her, forcing a smile. I want justice. That's not what I asked. My phone buzzes. Another message from Michael. I silence it without looking. Did I tell you she's throwing a charity gala next week? Using our money, of course. The theme is family values. The laugh that escapes me sounds hollow. The irony would be funny if it wasn't so… Esther. Lena stands, crossing the room to me. Stop deflecting. I'm not… You've spent the last hour talking about Vivian's schemes and Michael's betrayal, but you haven't said a word about yourself. The truth hits like a physical blow. I sink into the nearest chair, suddenly exhausted. Because if I think about myself, I'll have to admit that I'm terrified. Of what? Of starting over. Of being alone. I press my palms against my eyes. Of realizing I wasted 5 years loving someone who never really existed. My phone buzzes again. This time it's an email from Michael's firm. I open it, scanning quickly. My hands start shaking. What is it? The missing client files. I whisper. They weren't just misplaced. The money… He was using client funds to cover Vivian's expenses. I look up at Lena. Horror dawning. He committed fraud. Actual criminal fraud. What are you going to do? The question hangs in the air between us. In my mind, I see Vivian's smug smile at the country club, hear Michael's endless excuses, feel the weight of all their lies. I'm going to destroy them, I say, and the words taste like freedom. Not with revenge, with truth. Every lie, every scheme, every manipulation. I'm going to expose it all. And then what? I stand, gathering my things. Then I'm going to rebuild my life, without their shadows hanging over me. That's not justice, Esther, Lena calls as I reach the door. That's survival. I pause, hand on the doorknob. Maybe they're the same thing. The rain has stopped when I step outside. The air feels cleaner, sharper, like the calm before a storm. The invitation arrives on expensive cardstock, Vivian's flowing script mocking me through the gold embossing. Annual charity gala, celebrating family values and community excellence. My fingers trace the date, exactly 1 week before the law firm's deadline for Michael to explain the missing funds. My phone rings. Roger's name appears on the screen. A first in 5 years of marriage. Esther? His voice trembles. I need to talk to you. Not at the house. Vivian can't know. We meet at a coffee shop across town. Roger hunches over his untouched cappuccino, looking smaller than I've ever seen him. The country club is foreclosing on our membership, he whispers. The bank called about the house. I found papers. He pulls out a crumpled envelope. Vivian's been forging my signature, taking out loans. I don't even know who we owe anymore. I slide the gala invitation across the table. Yet she's still throwing parties. She says we can't let people know, that appearances are everything. His hands shake. Michael's been helping her hide it, using his client's money. I know. His head snaps up. What are you going to do? The question hangs between us as I watch a barista wipe down tables, her movements mechanical. Normal. How strange that the world keeps turning while everything burns. That depends, I say, pulling out my phone. Are you willing to tell the truth? He stares at the recording icon blinking on my screen. For a moment, I see the war behind his eyes. Decades of submission fighting against one chance at freedom. My phone buzzes with a text from Vivian. Don't forget to pick up your gala dress. I've already chosen it. Midnight blue, like a proper daughter-in-law should wear. I show Roger the message. His face hardens. Ask your questions, he says. Later, I sit in my car, listening to Roger's confession. The systematic fraud, the manipulation, the way Vivian used Michael's devotion to destroy everything we built. Another text arrives. Michael this time. Mom says you haven't picked up your dress. Please don't make this difficult. I start the car, but not toward the boutique. Instead, I drive to the law firm's ethics committee office. The USB with Roger's recording weighs heavy in my pocket. My phone rings again. Vivian. The gala's in 3 days, dear. Everyone will be there. The mayor, the board members, all of Michael's old colleagues. Her voice drips honey-coated venom. We wouldn't want anything to spoil our perfect family image, would we? I park in front of the law firm's building. No, Vivian. We wouldn't want that at all. The elevator doors open. It's time to choose between justice and mercy, between revenge and redemption. I step inside. The country club ballroom sparkles with false promises, just like everything else in Vivian's world. I adjust the midnight blue dress she chose, my costume for her final performance. The USB drive with Roger's confession feels like a burning coal in my clutch. Vivian holds court near the champagne fountain, Michael at her side like a well-trained puppet. She spots me, her smile sharpening. Darling, you're late. She air kisses my cheek. I was just telling everyone about Michael's wonderful new position at the firm. Which firm would that be? I keep my voice light, watching her eyes narrow. The one that's investigating him for fraud? The champagne glass trembles in her hand. Michael steps forward, but I raise my phone, showing him the recording app. Careful, dear. Wouldn't want to make a scene. Esther, please. His whisper carries genuine fear. You don't understand what you're doing. Actually, I do. I turn to address the growing crowd of onlookers. I understand exactly what I'm doing. Vivian grabs my arm, nails digging in. Not here. Think about what this will do to the family. Family? I laugh, the sound echoing off crystal chandeliers. You mean your carefully constructed lie? Everything I did was for Michael. Was it? I pull out my phone, playing Roger's confession through the ballroom speakers I'd secretly connected to earlier. His voice fills the room, detailing years of fraud and manipulation. The crowd goes silent. Vivian's face drains of color. Then she smiles. Check your phone, dear. My screen lights up with an email from my company's board of directors. I open it, my hands starting to shake. It's amazing, Vivian says, her voice carrying across the silent room. How quickly a career can end when someone discovers unauthorized use of company resources for personal vendettas. I scroll through the email, my stomach dropping. She's right. In my determination to expose her, I'd used company equipment, company time, company connections. Who do you think they'll believe? She takes my phone, deleting Roger's recording with manicured fingers. The respected community leader or the unstable employee obsessed with destroying her mother-in-law? Michael won't meet my eyes. Roger has disappeared. The crowd watches, hungry for scandal. You see, Esther, Vivian whispers, I learned long ago that the truth doesn't matter. Only the story people choose to believe. My carefully constructed plan crumbles as my phone buzzes with more emails. My boss, the board, the ethics committee, all of them questioning my stability, my integrity, my truth. Vivian raises her glass. To family, she announces to the room, and the lengths we go to protect it. The crowd echoes her toast, their judgment clear in their eyes. I stand alone in my midnight blue dress, watching my revenge transform into my own destruction. Sometimes the greatest wounds come from the weapons we choose ourselves. 3 days after the gala, I find Vivian alone in her garden, pruning roses like nothing's wrong, like she hasn't destroyed everything I've built. Come to beg forgiveness. She doesn't look up from her flowers. The board meeting's tomorrow. One phone call from me could save your career. I drop a thick manila envelope on her garden table. Actually, I came to return something. She opens it, her perfectly manicured fingers trembling slightly as she pulls out bank statements, loan documents, forged signatures. Her face pales. Where did you... Roger didn't just record a confession. I sit across from her, watching her world crumble. He kept copies of everything. These prove nothing. The district attorney disagrees. I check my watch. They're executing search warrants right now. At your house, the country club, Michael's office. Her pruning shears snap shut on empty air. You're bluffing, My phone buzzes. Michael's text appears. They're here. I'm sorry, Mom. I can't lie anymore. I show her the message. Funny thing about your perfect son, he kept his own records too. Insurance, he called it. He wouldn't dare. But her voice wavers. I gave him everything. No, Vivian. You took everything from him. His career, his marriage, his integrity. I stand, brushing dirt from my skirt. The board meeting tomorrow? It's not about me. It's about you. Her laugh sounds brittle. They'll never believe. They already do. I pull out one final document, a letter from the ethics committee. Turns out when you're trying to destroy someone's career, you should check who they went to college with. The board chairman was my roommate. Sirens wail in the distance, getting closer. You could still stop this, she says quickly. We're family. That's where you're wrong. I turn to leave, then pause. You know what the difference is between us, Vivian? You destroy what you love. I protect what matters. By destroying our family? No, by telling the truth. The sirens are at the front gate now. Vivian's roses tremble in the breeze, their perfect blooms already beginning to wilt. They'll take everything, she whispers. Like you took everything from me? I watch as police cars pull into her driveway. The difference is you did it for power. I'm doing it for justice. As officers approach the garden, I see Michael watching from the street, Roger beside him, both looking smaller but somehow freer. Goodbye, Vivian. I walk away as they read her rights. Enjoy the roses while you can. Her scream of rage follows me out, but it doesn't touch me anymore. Some gardens need to burn before new things can grow, and I'm finally ready to plant my own. The divorce papers arrive on the same morning as Vivian's sentencing notice. I sign one, file the other away, and head to my new office. Vice President nameplate gleaming on the door, just like I'd imagined all those months ago. A familiar figure waits by my desk. Michael, looking older but somehow lighter, holds an envelope. Shouldn't you be at the courthouse? I set down my coffee, maintaining distance. Mom took a plea deal. He fidgets with the envelope's edge. Dad's selling the house, moving to Arizona. Good for Roger. I start community service next week, part of my reduced sentence. He places the envelope on my desk. And therapy. Real therapy, not just pretending everything's fine. I don't touch the envelope. Why are you here, Michael? Because you were right. About everything. He steps back, hands in pockets. I thought I was protecting my family, but I was just enabling destruction, including my own. Through my office window, I watch the city wake up. Somewhere across town, Vivian's precious social circle is probably already dissecting her downfall over breakfast. The envelope, Michael says softly. It's not an apology. Those are the transaction records you asked for. Everything Mom did, everything I helped hide. The investigators might need them. I meet his eyes. You already gave them copies. Yes, but you deserve to know the whole truth too. He turns to leave, then pauses. You know what's strange? I feel more like myself now than I ever did trying to be her perfect son. After he's gone, I open my laptop, scanning today's agenda. Board meetings, client calls, life moving forward. The envelope sits unopened. My phone buzzes. Lena. Lunch? We can celebrate or commiserate. Your choice. I glance at the envelope again. 5 years of marriage, decades of lies, all reduced to paper and ink. The weight of it should feel heavier. Instead, I feel light. I text Lena back. Neither. Let's just have lunch. The envelope can wait. Maybe I'll read it tomorrow. Or next week. Or never. The truth is, it doesn't matter anymore. Some victories aren't about exposing secrets or winning battles. Sometimes they're about choosing which stories to carry forward and which to leave behind. I drop the envelope in my drawer, unopened. Outside, the city hums with possibility. My phone buzzes with work messages. Real emergencies this time, not manufactured ones. Time to write my own story. I close the drawer and get to work.